What's up, everybody, and welcome to Wildcard Sports. In today's video, we're going to go over the NFC West best case and worst case scenarios for their record this year. We're going to look at each team's schedule, look at every game, see what games they're going to win and lose, and I'll let you guys know my opinion on the best and worst case scenario. So don't forget to like the video, subscribe if you're new. We're going to be doing this for every division. So if you haven't seen your division yet, stay tuned. So let's just start with the Seattle Seahawks. We're going to look at their schedule. And we're going to look at best case scenario for the Seahawks. Sam Darnold as their QB now. And they're a young team. They were kind of rebuilding last year, but they are getting better. They had that rookie coach last year on his second year. So let's see if the Seahawks improve here. So first game of the season, division game against the 49ers. I'm a 49er fan, just so you guys know. So I could be biased here. But we're looking at best case scenario. They could sweep the Niners, but I do think even best and worst, they could just split the games here. So at home, first game of the season, best case scenario, Seahawks win that game. So 1-0. Then they're at the Steelers, going to be tough, but going against Aaron Rodgers, definitely winnable. Best case, so let's say they go 2-0. Then they beat the Saints 3-0. At the Cardinals, I think they split, though, against the Cardinals because it's a division game. And it's away game. And we're going to take their first loss here, so that's one loss. They should beat the Bucks, should beat the Jags on the road. Texans going to be tough. I think Texans get that, so that's another loss. Commanders at the Commanders should be another loss, so that's 3. And then at the Rams, I think they're going to split, so that's 4 losses there. They should beat the Titans. Vikings they should beat them. Beat the Falcons. Beat the Colts. Let's see. Rams should win that one at home, beat the Panthers, and then lose to the Niners. So 12-5, best case scenario for the Seahawks here. I think 12-5 is legit if everything goes right for them. Don't personally see that happening for the Seahawks, but 12-5 could be doable. All right, let's look at worst case scenario here. Let's get rid of this ad. All right, here we go. So worst case scenario, they could lose game 1 against the 49ers here. 49ers start hot, play well. Lose against the Steelers. They could start 0-2. I say they win against the Saints. Lose against the Cardinals there. Let's say they lose against the Bucks. Beat the Jags 2, lose against the Texans and Commanders, beat the Cardinals, it's 3 wins, lose against the Rams, beat the Titans 4, beat the Vikings 5, beat the Falcons 6, beat the Colts 7. I say they get swept by the Rams, beat the Panthers 8. So 8 wins minimum, worst case scenario for the Seahawks. So 8-9. It's not a terrible, it's not terrible for the Seahawks, but, at that point they wouldn't make the playoffs. Let's look at what Vegas says for the Seahawks really quick, what they have their total at. Let's go down here. So they have them at 7.5, so pretty much what I had the worst case scenario. I think they should get 8 wins, so I would bet the over on the Seahawks. I'll give them 9 wins. I don't think they're going to get anywhere past 10 wins. Like, I don't think they're getting 11 wins, maybe 10 max, but I'm going to have the Seahawks at 9 wins this season. So let me know in the comments if you agree with that one or not. All right, moving on to the Cardinals. Cardinals are one of those teams, they didn't really get that much better in the offseason. They were 8-9 last year. They swept the Niners last year. They're beating, teams that they should have beat. But there was just a very average year for the Cardinals. So will they do that again this year? I feel like it could be another average year. So let's look at their schedule. Best case scenario here, they could start out 2-0, beat the Saints and the Panthers, lose against the Niners on the road because the Niners want their revenge there, beat the Seahawks, beat the Titans. Let's say they beat the Colts, lose to the Packers, lose to the Cowboys on the road, lose to the Seahawks on the road. Let's say they beat the Niners there. So that's 5 wins. Beat the Jags 6. Lose to the Bucks. let's say they beat the Rams at home, so 7. Lose to the Texans, beat the Falcons 8. Lose to the Bengals and the Rams. Wow. Yeah. They have a tough schedule. Wow. So best case scenario for the Cardinals, 8 wins, 8-9. Whoops. Yeah, I don't know. I can't see them getting any better than that. I mean, maybe if they sweep the Niners again, they go 9-8, or they sweep, one of the teams in the division, they go 9-8. So that's could happen. But I got them at 8-9. All right, let's look at their worst case scenario here. So let's say they lose to the Saints because it's on the road, first game of the season. So that's a loss there. Let's say they beat the Panthers, lose to the Niners. So it's 1 win. Let's say they get swept by the Seahawks. But let's say they beat the Titans. That's 2 wins. Lose to the Colts. Lose to the Packers, Cowboys, Seahawks. Let's say the Niners sweep them. Let's say they beat the Panthers. That's 3 wins. Lose to the Bucks. Lose to the Rams, Texans. Let's see they beat the Falcons. Yeah, 4 wins. I have a max. Worst case scenario for, what is that, 4-13? And that could be very possible for the Cardinals this year. Let's see what Vegas has them. I'm pretty sure it's going to be pretty low. Vegas. Oh, whoa. Vegas has the Cardinals at 8.5. So I'm not seeing something that they see. Best case scenario for them, I had them at 8 though. So 8-9. Like I said, max the Cardinals can get, I feel like, with their schedule is 9 wins. Like max. I do not see the Cardinals getting 10 or more wins. So I would personally take the under if I had to choose. Because they have it at 8.5, and maybe that could change by the time you see this video, that line there. But I'm gonna take the under on the Cardinals. That's just me, but maybe that's just me basing it too much off of last season. So who knows? All right, moving on to my San Francisco 49ers. This is going to be a very interesting season. Purdy got paid. A lot of people got paid. They got extensions, all that good stuff. The Niners didn't really do much to their offense in the offseason. Obviously, Christian McCaffrey's back, healthy, ready to go, so that's going to be fun to watch, and he's going to definitely improve the offense there, but we don't really have a strong receiver. Ayuk is still nursing that injury, so he's going to be back, but how rusty is Ayuk going to be? Pearsall could be interesting to see coming off his rookie season. I don't know what to think of my Niners, man. Like, I'm worried about this season. I do think we should be better than last year. I mean, last year we were 6-11, as you can see right there. We got to do better than 6-11, and we got to make the freaking playoffs this year. So let's look at their schedule here. Best case scenario for the 49ers here. So let's say they beat the Seahawks, beat the Saints, beat the Cardinals, beat the Jags. They could start off the season 4-0. I still think they could beat the Rams on the road. Because, SoFi Stadium is Levi South at the end of the day. So they could literally start this season 5-0 if everything's clicking. But it's the Niners, and I don't fully trust them, to be honest. I know they're my team, but I feel like there's going to be one loss somewhere in those first 5 games. Don't know where it's going to be. So I think the Niners could start the season 4-1. At the Bucks could be tough, but let's just say they beat the Bucks, because the Niners have a fairly decent schedule. I mean, very easy schedule compared to a lot of teams. So only one loss yet. Let's say they lose to the Texans at the Texans, beat the Giants. Rams and Cardinals should be wins, but in all reality, they're probably going to split here. Beat the Panthers, beat the Browns, Titans, Colts, should beat the Bears and the Seahawks. But it's the Niners. They deal with so many injuries. I don't fully trust that they could stay healthy all season long. I mean, we rarely see that with the Niners. So I feel like there's going to be a 3rd or 4th loss here, even best case scenario in their schedule. So 13-4, I think, for the Niners is best case. Maybe 14-3. But like I said, I just don't trust that the Niners can stay healthy. And Purdy has to play I would say perfect, but not really perfect. He just has to play good enough to get the offense rolling. So let's have the Niners at. I'm just going to be completely honest and live in reality here. We're going to have them at 13-4, best case scenario, which is still amazing. I mean, going to the playoffs with that record, and should be great for the Niners in the regular season. Like I said, playoff spot right there. 13-4. I know some people are going to say the Niners could easily go 14-3, maybe even 15-2, but let's just be honest here. The Niners are not going to stay healthy all season long. Anything can happen. There's going to be some weird losses. I know a lot of people even last year were saying the Niners were going to go like 13-4. I think I even said Niners would go 13-4 last year, or like 12-5. And that for sure didn't happen. So 13-4 best case scenario. Worst case scenario for the Niners here. It's not going to be crazy bad, but let's say they lose week 1. They should beat the Saints, Cardinals, Jags, lose to the Rams. Let's say they lose to the Bucks. That's 3 losses there. Let's say they lose to the Texans. Let's say they lose on the road to the Cardinals. So that's 5. I don't think they lose to the Browns. And then they lose, I don't know, a random game here at the end. So like 6 losses. And that's still not bad at all. Like, worst case scenario, what is that, 11-6 for the Niners? I mean, Niners have to have a winning season. If we don't, there's something really wrong with the Niners. And maybe you could blame Purdy. I don't know. I still believe in Purdy fully. He got paid. Let's see what he could do now. But 11-6, worst case scenario. Maybe worst case scenario, 10-7. You know, still a winning record and still could get a wild card spot. So I don't know. Maybe that's just me being biased, but the Niners have such an easy schedule. They can't mess this up. Let me know what you guys think on that one. Let's look at the Vegas line on the Niners. Let's see. Yeah, Vegas has them at 10.5. So I would take the over there. What do I got? Both best and worst case scenario. I have them at 11 wins at least. So I would take the over on the Niners if everything goes well. So if the Niners get under 10 wins, that's definitely a failure of the season for my San Francisco 49ers. That's for sure. All right, moving on. Last but not least here, the Rams. Rams are definitely a better team. They're projected to win the West here, but the Niners have such an easy schedule. Like I said, they could easily win the West, but the Rams' defense is only getting better. They have Devontae Adams, Puka Nacua. I mean, they have solid players. This could be Stafford's last year. Who knows? But let's look at the Rams' schedule. Here we go. Wherever it is. Okay, there we go. All right, regular season here. Best case scenario for the Rams. They could, beat the Texans at home, beat the Titans. Let's say they lose to the Eagles. So that's 1 loss. Beat the Colts. Let's say they beat the Niners. Lose to the Ravens. Beat the Jags. Saints. Best case scenario, let's say they sweep the Niners. So, win there. Beat the Seahawks. Beat the Bucks. Beat the Panthers. Let's say, I think they're going to lose probably at the Cardinals division game. That's always a tough one for them. Lions. Let's say they win in that scenario. Let's say they split with the Seahawks. 4. Beat the Falcons and Cardinals. So, 4 losses, best case, just same as the Niners. So, it should be a tight race between the Rams and the Niners again. Well, not again, but, usually it is a tight race between the Niners and Rams in the NFC West. So, 13-4 again for the best case scenario. I know I have the Niners like that as well, but I don't know. I don't see the Rams doing worse than that if everything goes right, but let's see. Let's look at worst case scenario here for the Rams. Okay, let's say they lose to the Texans week 1. That's definitely possible because, Texans, you just never know with them. Lose to the Eagles. Lose to the Ravens. Lose to the Niners at Niners. Lose to the Cardinals. Let's say they lose to the Seahawks. So that's 6. Oh, line. Yeah. So 6. Wow, I can't believe I literally have it the same as the Niners. Literally the same, and I didn't do that on purpose. Best and worst case scenario, the same as the Niners. 13-4, 11-6. Let's see what they have the Rams at. LA Rams 9.5. It's actually it's one game lower than the Niners. So it's a toss up. To win the West is definitely a toss up, and if everything goes right for the Seahawks, they have a chance to win the West. I don't think that's going to happen, but it should come down to the 49ers and the Rams to win the West. That's where it should come down to. If everything goes right. I mean, like I said before, if the Niners aren't fighting for first place this season, it's a failure of the season for the Niners. Yeah. If I were to bet on the total, the over, the under for the Rams, I would definitely take the over 9.5. I don't see them doing any worse than that. But maybe that line can change when the season starts. So those are my best case and worst case scenarios for the NFC West. Let me know in the comments if you agree with any of these or disagree. Should be an interesting season. My prediction, though, 49ers first, Rams second, Seahawks, and then Cardinals getting last place, having a worse season than last year. Those are my predictions. Let me know yours. See you guys on the next video. Peace out.